All right. Thank you for tuning into this live Christmas drawing for July 20th, 2022. So on today's episode, I got a kind of a cool one here. It's something that is happening this year. This year is a very special moment at the end of this month, July 31st to be exact. And I'm going to just start drawing the character here, then I'll explain a little bit what I'm talking about. But it's a very special day, July 31st, 2022. So I'm going to work on my drawing here. I think I'm going to draw him in his normal look, and then maybe we'll add some Christmas elements to it. I was thinking of drawing the character and then putting him on a Christmas stocking or something like that, but I think I'm going to go with him. Maybe I'll put a Santa hat on him, maybe change his clothes up a little bit. But like I said, this character's got very special meaning for this month, and I'll explain it a little bit later. So we're going to start with our sketch drawing here. And this is a classic cartoon. I don't know if anyone nowadays would even know who this character is. Any of the younger people, I guess, anyway. Because it seems like nobody really watches cartoons anymore, like the cartoons that we grew up watching and our parents grew up with. And it just seems like nowadays, not to sound like an old guy here, but nowadays all these kids just watch everything on YouTube, and they watch, in my opinion, some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But hey, that's where this video is going on YouTube, so maybe some kid's watching this someday. So I'm not making fun of you for watching this. So don't take it like I am. But yeah, in my opinion, I don't think any younger kid is going to know who this character is unless their parent is living the nostalgia and trying to have their kids live, vicariously through them and have them watch the stuff that they watched growing up. My kids don't fall for that stuff. I tried. Trust me. I've tried. They're not having it. So I wonder if I didn't know who I was drawing, I wonder if I would be able to tell who it is just by that pencil sketch right now. Probably not. I mean, it might have an inkling because of some of the shapes, but might not know. So I'm going to zoom in here on the head, and I'm going to work on the head a little bit. Maybe that'll bring to light who this is. I'm going to do this in a little bit of my own style. I'm not going to make it look exactly like the character just because. I'm going to add my own little flair and style to it. I wonder if you'll know. I wonder at what point someone watching this is going to be like, all right, I know exactly who that character is. So if you happen to catch this on YouTube later, or if you're watching now, leave a comment as soon as you know who it is. Or if you're watching this on YouTube later, let me know in the comments. Just leave a comment at what time you realized who it was. I'm going to add a little zinger up there. Maybe that would help somebody out if I add the little alfalfa. All right. So continue on here. This style cartoon, you don't really see too much anymore. And this person, they've done tons of cartoons, and their style. Their style is very, very familiar. So I would assume if you knew this character at all, you should know him by now. But again, I'm going to throw my own little flair on him here. We'll rough him up a little bit as usual. I think I'm going to end up putting a Santa hat on him or something maybe anyway, so you might not even see that little hairdo, but maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. Now, I always say when I was growing up, it always seemed like me and my brothers and sister, we would always watch. It would seem like we had hours before school because like we would watch so many different things, and then growing up I'd be like, "Oh yeah, we used to watch that before school." But in my lifetime, if I think of how many times I said, "Oh yeah, we used to watch that before school," it would seem like I had 7 hours of watching TV before school, which I guess would be maybe it's possible though how early we had to wake up. But yeah, I always catch myself being like, "Oh yeah, we used to watch that before school." But judging by that, I must have watched seriously like this show, Conan the Barbarian. We even settled down and watched some weird sewing show, Sewing with Nancy or something like that. We used to watch the dumbest shit before school. But we always me and my I don't remember who all it was. My brothers and sister. We had like one little zinger we would change on the theme song for this cartoon. So when this cartoon was coming on, obviously, if you don't know by now, it's George Jetson. I'll explain the relevance of George Jetson this month in a little bit longer. I'm going to keep you on the edge of your seats for that. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. But anyway, so during the theme song of this show, we always had one phrase we would change because for some reason none of us liked George's wife Jane, and I don't know why. It's not like she ever really did anything to us, but we had a saying. So when they would go through the theme song and it was talking about George, daughter Judy, his son Elroy, then when they would always go, oh, I know what it was. Now I know why we hated her. Okay. So I'm pretty sure it was his wife. Yeah, it must have been. So during the theme song, when they're going through and they say, they'll be like, daughter Judy, his boy Elroy. But then whenever they would say Jane, his wife, she like, I think he like opened up his wallet and went to like give her a couple of dollars or something, which again, it's the future. Why did they have dollar bills still? I don't know. I'm sure they won't. But it would always say Jane, his wife, but he handed her a couple of dollars. So she like took the dollars, handed them back to him, and then just stole his whole wallet. And that bothered us. So I think we always just said Jane is dumb, and then we just continued on with that. But we were younger kids, so we were sitting there giggling and laughing about it like it was the funniest thing in the world. But yeah, we did not like the wife because she stole his money. But again, you got to think when this cartoon came out, how things were in the world. I'm sure the money was divvied up all the time like that. But yeah, it was just pretty funny. But yeah, Jane is dumb. That's what we always used to say. Not a fan of Jane. All right, so his hand here, we got, let's see, the palm of his hand coming down to his sleeve here. I'm gonna give him the old high pinky there. So a Hanna-Barbera cartoon is very distinct. They all have a similar look to them. But the Jetsons is a Hanna-Barbera. A Hanna-Barbera joint, if you will. And angle that down a little bit more so it makes a little more sense. Okay. Now the classic George Jetson attire. This is the attire of the future, kids, so be prepared. A white polo with 3 stripes on it. Right in the center, front and center. And then some sort of a belt that doesn't do really anything. It has a little rectangle in the front. And then looks like we're still hanging out in blue pants, corduroy jeans. I don't know what he's wearing here. But here is where we're getting space age. Now that I'm going to zoom out, he looks pretty stubby. So let's erase these legs. Let's get rid of the legs here, Georgie. And we'll redraw those. Didn't realize how stubby I had you. It's the problem when you're sketching stuff in there small like that. All right, so here's George, the bottom of George here. I know probably all on the edge of your seat to know what kind of George Jetson fact I have for you for today, but trust me, it's worth it. It's worth the wait. Now, like I was saying, here's where George Jetson's attire gets really space age. Okay? So he's wearing a classic white shoe, but the space ageness of it, you're going to love it. Little rings right here. Floating rings, don't know what they do, don't know if they ever had any sort of weird powers or anything like that. I doubt it. Don't remember the show all that well. But yeah, his shoes had a bit of a Saturn ring type thing around them. Then you got your Hanna-Barbera foot. All right. Now we can't just draw George Jetson like that. We gotta Christmas him up a little bit here, if that's the proper term. So before we do that, let's do. I'm trying to think what we could do. Maybe put a couple of presents by his feet. But I'm thinking since it's the future, presents are going to look a little bit different. Now, if you recall, they lived in like these weird, like, I don't know, it reminds me of like the Space Needle, like the way they look. It's kind of like their houses are like a dome and they got rings around them, different levels, kind of looks like different apartment buildings, maybe like a hamburger or something like that. And then at the bottom, there was always like this little carport thing, and that's where you would always pull in right there. Then I don't remember. You take the elevator up to your pad or something like that. We're gonna erase that though. That was just my recollection of a Jetson house. So yeah, let's do some space age style presents here. So I'm thinking we're gonna do a classic UFO pattern. But then again, I guess in the Jetsons age, it wouldn't be a UFO. I mean, this is just their cars. I mean, that's what they looked like. But we're gonna put a bow on this one. Maybe this is Elroy's or something for Elroy. This will be wrapped. We'll put some wrapping paper on it. And we'll just put a couple other gifts back here. But yeah, I was thinking, what would presents look like in the future? All depend on the technology we had, I guess. Let's make this present floating, just because it seems like things could just float on their own in the future. I mean, it's probably a present that's something that floats, so it's just floating anyway. Then their little robot housemaid, her name was Rosie. But yeah, she doesn't get a present. So that's how we're gonna do the sketch there of George. Then, like I said, I think I'm just gonna elf sleeve him up here. I don't know if I throw a Santa hat on him because it'll eliminate the little alfalfa. That's kind of like his signature thing, that and his big nose. So I think we're just gonna do the elf. See, then again, we're gonna get rid of his blue jeans or whatever space age pants he's wearing in the future. We're going to put elf stripes on them. Now, we're going to leave those. Like I said, these are a standard George Jetson shirt, polo shirt, 3 black stripes. But I think what I'm going to do, we're going to turn those stripes gold, and these are just going to be candies here. So we're going to make them into an elf, I guess. So those will be little candies. And I'm thinking I'm just going to have his hat boinging off his head. Because if you recall, like sometimes like Hanna-Barbera would do some ridiculous things, but between these guys and the Flintstones with his little boinging hat, we're gonna pop it off like that, and that's how we're gonna George Jetson up our picture here and make it all Christmassy. Now we're gonna go to our ink layer and we're gonna start laying in some ink. I'm gonna go with syrup, just because the last couple of days I was using a different one, and I'm going back to syrup. Make sure it's a little too thick there. All right, so starting our basic inking here, laying in. Don't forget, I got a George Jetson fact for you coming up. It's probably one of the coolest things you're going to hear all day today. But I'm doing this now because I want to give people a chance. I want to give you time to get ready for this momentous occasion that's coming up. This put me in the mood though to want to watch the Jetsons. I think it's been a long time since I've seen them, so I think I'm going to go and watch them. I'm sure there's a Christmas episode or two, so maybe I'll look for that. I'll go on the hunt and find a Christmas episode to watch. I don't think he had any like ear innards like that, but I'm gonna give him them. Now he's got your classic Homer Simpson beard line there, but it was always the same color. It's not like it was a 5 o'clock shadow. It was just a line. I don't know. I don't know why they chose to do some things like that, but that's what they did. All right, so we got our our shirt here. Then we got our highfalutin thumb tapping. I'm George Jetson. Look at me going on here. All right, now we'll do that part of the arm. Then we'll do that. Front part of his outfit here. Whoops, didn't like the way that turned out there. Then you got to make that leg a little bit thicker there. Then again, you got your belt that doesn't really do anything. Again, I don't remember though. Maybe the belt had some. Maybe that little thing on the front was just a buckle. Maybe it was some sort of a weird futuristic feature that would pop open and something would come out. I can't recall. And then again, your classic Hanna-Barbera foot. And you cannot forget the futuristic part. The little rings that I don't think they would even do anything. Or I don't even know what their purpose is. Now we're going to put these back on because, again, that's what makes George's shirt. These three little black bars. And then we're going to flank the sides of them with some peppermints here. I'm going to switch to red. That way I could just draw this. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to draw it a little bit smaller. There we go. Unselect, back to the larger one, black ink, and onto the head up here. Forgot his little boing, alfalfa. Onto the hat, which is popping off his head here. I guess in classic fashion, we'll make it like it just popped off his head. Maybe just in excitement. I don't know. That's fine. Now we'll go on to the gifts here before we start laying in some color. And then, as I promised, the George Jetson fact that's going to blow your socks off. I'm telling you, it's cause for celebration. So there's our UFO package. I don't even know why I do a sketch layer here because I'm obviously not following any of this stuff, but it just makes it easier to figure out the layout. Whoops. Back to the pencil again, my whatever. Now the floating gift. I'm not even sure what this is or why it's floating. Pretty standard issue looking gift that's just floating. All right. So now we're going to eliminate the pencil layer, reference this layer, add a new layer, drop it under there, and we will start coloring. So we have, I think George's hair is kind of like a orangish, reddish, brown. I think we're just going to try out this color, see how that looks. Looks a little too brown. So I think maybe he's a little more on the orange side. Nah, that doesn't look right either. Let's go a little more red. Let's try that. Probably not accurate, but I think for the purposes of this, we're going to leave it and we'll move on. So now we're going to give him his red tongue. Missed. I don't know why I missed that. His tongue's huge here. Then we're going to go on with the George Jetson flesh tone, which in the future, I don't know how accurate this would be. I'm going to say possibly in the future, we might all be a little more darker skin tones, it might seem. But here we go. Especially up in outer space. I mean, I don't know exactly where these guys are located in outer space, but I'm sure they got some pretty hot sun up there compared to where we're at now. All right, so now I'm trying to think if George Jetson normally wears a white shirt. I think we're still going to keep him with the white shirt, but we're going to put green stripes on it. It'll just fit with the elf thing. Or do I leave the shirt solid green? Let me leave it white for now. We'll see how that looks. Let's move on to the pants. We're going to do the pants with a green stripe just because that's what elves would wear. And I have a pair of elf pajamas that my kids wore when they were little, and they were striped like this. So I always enjoy the green stripe. Pants like this for an elf. Looks more like a fruit stripe gum. That last leg didn't turn out right. But that's also because my pen was at a weird angle. We'll leave it like that. And let's see what this shirt would look like solid green. Not a fan of that. We're going to keep it white. I'm going to go with a darker green for his belt since George's belt is green, and that'll fit with his green pants theme there. And then we're going to do the Rankin and Bass style hat, so that means green on the outside with a yellow stripe. That's very elf Rankin Bass to me. And I don't know, I think I kind of like it like that. I kind of like them. We're going to go on to these gifts here just to add some other color to the picture. I think we'll give this one a purple wrapping paper. And maybe a pink bow or something like that. It kind of looks like Judy's color scheme to me. Looks like she would be into this setup. Then this one, we're gonna go with a blue since we didn't do George's blue pants. And then we'll give this one let's go with a lime green wrap or a bow. That's pretty vibrant. And then the floating gift, we're going to just pretend this one's for Jane. And we're going to pretend it is some sort of jewelry in a floating box. Any of these that I missed that fill in the ribbon, I'm just going to color that separate. Because I see I have a lot of open gaps here. Then we're going to give this light purple wrapping or bow ribbon, I guess. This always just reminds me of cotton candy, this color scheme. All right, going back to our reference layer, we'll go back to black. It's going to add a little bit of textures here and lines and whatnot. I'm going to add a dark shadow up inside the hat there. I don't know if if that comes through as that, but that's how I'm interpreting that dark shadow for the hat. Then we'll give him a couple space zits here. Maybe a hairy little mole back there. Looks like a bug crawling on him. Let's give him a swirly knuckle. A couple more wrinkles here because, the future really has him stressed out. Now we're going to add a shadow layer. Add that in between. Add a little bit of shading here to our old pal George. And then I'm going to hit you up with the exciting George news here. I've teased it long enough. I don't know what game my son's playing upstairs, but I hear him screaming at the VR headset. All right, we're almost at the half-hour mark. I like to keep these under a half hour or a half hour right around there. Okay, let's put a little shadow under there, a little shadow there, behind the leg, under that leg, behind a space shoe, a little bit on the gift here, in interior of the bow. This is where I'm just getting sloppy with it now, but it'll work. It'll work. All right, then we're going to, let's see, let's select the background here. Whoops. That way I can add shading under all of it without interrupting the thing. And we'll put that shadow back there for the floating present. Then I'm thinking that that's going to be good there. So now on to my Jetsons news. So listen to this. So the show, I don't know what just happened there. The show, The Jetsons, took place in the year 2062. So in 2062, George Jetson was 40 years old. George Jetson, his birthday is July 31st. So in 40 years from this July 31st, 2022 is the day George Jetson is going to be born. So George Jetson, his birthday, July 31st, 2022. So George isn't born yet in real, in our real life. But he will be on July 31st. 2022 is the day that George Jetson is born. So that's my George Jetson fact for you for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was worth the wait. George's birthday is coming up, so I hope you gives you time to celebrate. You get your cakes, your presents, whatever you want to do to celebrate George Jetson's birthday at the end of this month, because that is a glorious day. So we're gonna sign it. We're gonna put the date, the 20th. Oh, lots of 2s and 0s. 2022. And that's my Christmas George Jetson picture for the day. Happy birthday, George Jetson, coming up. You're not in this world yet, but you will be born soon. And you're going to live a long, great life in the future. So thank you for watching this episode of my live Christmas drawing. I will be back next Wednesday. If you want to see a daily piece of art, I post every day on my Instagram account. That is at Ague Designs, AGUEDESIGNS. I do post a daily Christmas picture up over there. I do also have a Christmas podcast that I've been working on that a little bit. That is found at Closer to Christmas. You could find that over there. Actually, I believe the Instagram account on that one is Closer to Xmas. I'll have to look that up, and I'll post it. I'll post it up. But yeah, it's Closer to Xmas. If you want to follow me over there, kind of reviewing some Christmas games right now at the moment. But yeah, stick with me every day on my Instagram and every Wednesday here on Twitch, followed up by YouTube. And I'll be back next Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Happy birthday, George Jetson, and your wife, Jane, I guess. We don't like you. All right, see you guys next week. Bye-bye.